I'm Eric Novak, and this here beside me is the 2019 Infiniti QX50. Infiniti's mid-size SUV or crossover. It's a crossover. It's a unibody design. We still call them SUVs anyway. But anyway, it's their new mid-size entrant. It's redesigned for 2019, and it's part of an incredibly competitive segment in the marketplace. We're all going towards SUVs and crossovers, so and mid-size tends to be the more popular size. So everybody in this segment, whether you're in the regular brands or in the luxury brands, is really working hard to put together the best offering possible. There's some pretty new technologies inside this new QX50, under the hood especially, with their first ever 2-liter VC or variable compression engine. We'll talk about that in this review. And there's some interesting redesigns and upgrades on the interior as well. So let's take a look at this new 2019 Infiniti QX50. Looking inside the interior of the new QX50, the press materials talk about a very asymmetrical design, looking up front, driver's side, passenger side, and it clearly is the case. It also talks about a lot of roominess. There's a very open feel to this. They say it's got the largest passenger interior space in its class. One thing I noticed when I first stepped inside is it did feel, I don't want to say minimalist because it's not, but there is a certain clean overall general feel to it, and it is it's appealing. There's a calmness sort of to some of the upper lines up here. It's not too busy. You're looking forward here in the driver information center. I mean, it's pretty common. If you've seen a Nissan or Infiniti, there's nothing too new about it. It's very familiar. They have done some rework on the center stack. Once again, they've brought back the 2 separate screens. The top mostly manages your navigation, and your center, your lower screen here handles all your apps and your connectivity, more information if you're inputting details. I like how the fact that there is some tactile buttons left and right sided on the bottom, some of the key things you would want to press. Some are a bit of a reach though. It's a nice clean feel to it. It's not the most ergonomic. I think if there's one thing I'd love to see is there is an angling out on the 2 screens, and in some cases it is a bit of a stretch. I'd love to have seen what you're seeing in a lot of other interiors where the center stack is angled in just a couple of degrees, 8, 9, 10 degrees for a bit of a cockpit feel to it. That would be an improvement to the center stack. As I said, there's some things here that need to be a reach. Down below, the gear shifter is it's all electronic, so you have to finagle with it a little bit. I actually had a little bit difficulty getting it into neutral a couple times. It's a very subtle sort of shift connected to it, but I also like the sort of central commander. One thing I kind of noticed is your armrest. There's a suede material, and it actually is comfortable on a hot day like we're having now. A lot of times when you have a leather surface on your armrest, it tends to stick, but it's comfortable and it's not sticking. Plus, the ergonomics is good with the commander here, where you can control certain basic functions over projecting onto the top screen, but you can deal with your cameras and you can enter commands. You can select radio or audio signal, audio presets and such as that. So that is pretty good. But overall, it's a nice feel to it. There's always new innovations in a new design, such as the next generation QX50 is, and aside from the new engine technology, there's a couple of neat little features that are in play on the inside as well. The second row seats certainly are comfortable enough for a mid-size crossover such as this. There's enough space, certainly for 2 adults easily. You can fit 3 back there, probably not for long periods of time, but the correlation between the second row and the cargo area. Now, normally that has to do with, well, second row seats down or up. But one of the things that the second row seats do here is they do slide forward and back. So you have a couple inches of travel, which increases the cargo space by up to about 5 or 6 cubic feet you can add. If you don't have needs for a lot of legroom in the second row, you can shift it forward. So that's kind of innovative and a neat little feature to sort of play with the space you have in a new and I'd say slightly innovative kind of way. The VC turbo engine inside the 2019 QX50, according to Infiniti, is the world's first production-ready variable compression ratio engine, which is designed to transform on demand. Now, essentially, with this breakthrough in combustion engine design, the 2-liter VC turbo engine adjusts its compression ratio to optimize power and efficiency. Now, that's something that regular gas engines are unable to do. The end result is the ability to combine the power of a 2-liter turbocharged gas engine with the torque and efficiency of a 4-cylinder diesel. Now, by being able to modify the compression ratio inside the engine, the VC Turbo offers an interesting alternative to diesel while attempting to challenge the notion that only hybrid and diesel powertrains can deliver high torque and efficiency. Inside the VC turbo engine, a multi-link system continuously raises or lowers the piston's reach to transform the compression ratio. High compression ratios aid fuel efficiency, while low compression ratios enable greater power and torque. The VC Turbo offers any compression ratio in between 8:1, which is ideal for performance, and 14:1, which would be good for efficiency, thus maximizing driver control. So in this 2019 QX50 with the VC Turbo engine, you're putting out 268 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. There again, that comes from the variable compression, where you're getting almost the torque-like feel that you would get in, say, a diesel or in some electric hybrids, where you've got the battery coming off the front for high torque. It's paired to a CVT transmission, and now that normally is not the most desirable thing, given how CVTs tend to lack that certain pizzazz, shall we say, the linear way in which the transmission operates. It's not the most sporty feel. I think the combination, though, with the VC Turbo and that higher torque compensates for that so much. I do find that it operates and drives pretty well. It's actually quite a nice driving vehicle. It's also good on fuel efficiency. It is aiming for a combined fuel efficiency rating of just over 9 liters per 100 kilometers, or 26 US miles per gallon. And in my week of driving it, I'm pretty much right on the nail when it comes to that figure. So I believe it to be true. And now that represents about a 30% increase in fuel efficiency when compared to the previous V6 powertrain that on the earlier iteration of the QX50 had. So overall, I mean, it's a fine driving experience. Your seating placement is rather high up. There's great visibility and sight lines around. Lots of very little impediments. The A-pillars are not that large, so your view is not terribly obstructed at all. It's really a good sight lines all around. I've been enjoying my time driving this QX50. You know, I'll be straight up off the top and tell you that I've always liked Infiniti ever since it came out back in the 1980s. In fact, once we got into the early 2000s and we saw the launch of the new G35 and onwards from there, I really had a fondness for the design and the styling. And maybe that shows a bit of design preferences in my mind. And that's really true when it comes to premium brands and luxury brands. No matter what, there tends to be some pretty hardcore biases and preferences with people. But you know, when you get to a vehicle like this QX50, it's worth trying to extend your preference if you're not normally someone who would give this some thought. I like this VC turbo engine. I think it has some pretty interesting upside to it, and we'll see how this technology continues to evolve in their portfolio. But the overall design of the vehicle, it's attractive, it's roomy, it's spacious, it is fun to drive, and the price points are, well, it's pretty competitive for the segment that it's in. So I really do think if you are looking in this really competitive category and you're looking to get into the mid-size area, expand your horizons and give this some consideration if you haven't done it before. I like it, and I think you might too. That's it for this review. I'm Eric Novak. Thanks for watching. There's plenty of ways for you to keep connected with me, so check out some of my social media links, suggested videos, and you know, I'd really love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel.